Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. We serve the reserve system. It's not federal, it's a bank for the most wealthiest globalists in the world. It is. This was just a few days ago, opening remarks by Chair Powell at the Monetary Policy Challenges in a Global Economy. Annual research conference hosted by the International Monetary Fund. It was hosted by the International Monetary Fund. International, that sounds global. Yeah. Where do your freedoms, where does the American Constitution fit into that when you're dealing internationally? Because you have a bunch of countries that are communist and socialist. Oh, well, your freedoms get lost. It's a way to entrap you more, to imprison you more than you already are. Also from the Federal Reserve, yes, every time there's a crisis, some global crisis, whether it's the Twin Towers coming down or COVID, it just so happens that it opens the door for a ton of new agencies and associations to be created. And that web of associations and agencies gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And all it does is enclose you even more. Where does the American freedom or Constitution come into play with that? It doesn't. Because the Federal Reserve is not federal. You're told it is, but it's not. It's a banker for globalists. You serve them. And they don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican because they know how the game is played. But as long as you keep believing that somehow it's about Republicans or Democrats, then they keep you exactly where they want you. You can believe that, or you can stay in your ego and continue to believe what the media tells you. As you can see here, it says, learn more about the facilities the Federal Reserve has established in response to the events related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Every time there's a crisis, the globalists love it. The global bankers love the crises because it's a chance to take more of your freedoms and put you even more into servitude. Again, from the Federal Reserve, that's not federal. Central bank digital currency, money and payments, the US dollar in the age of digital transformation. This is the globalist's dream. It is, because once everything's digital, oh, well, they can just digitally change your bank account if they want. They can just digitally control where you go because maybe you didn't get your health checkup this year. So maybe you won't be allowed to travel. It's endless, the ways that this is how they can virtually enslave you more than you already are. I mean, at least with being indentured servitude, you had some freedoms. You got some money, even though like 30% of every dollar you make goes to the government. That's servitude. And who does it go to? It goes to the Federal Reserve. Now, should we have, people have always, at least what I've heard is that, no, we have to have taxes. It's how we keep our country going. Really, we're trillions in debt. And that debt, most people don't think about it because I don't. It's like, what's the point of thinking about it? But they will, believe me, the Federal Reserve isn't going to help you. They serve to help the global bankers. They are the global bankers. America didn't always have a Federal Reserve System. Again, it came in because of bankers. This is disgraceful. Freelance reporters paid by CNN, New York Times raise ethical questions after coverage of Hamas attack. The more ethics and morals go out the window, the more we lose freedoms. It's just obvious, because we don't have any agencies that operate on any moral standard. We don't. We have just more and more associations, more and more agencies, and all of those are told to you to help you and keep you free so that you can live this free life, and yet you've just lived in the illusion of freedom. The very fact that close to 30% on every dollar you make is taken by the government shows you are in indentured servitude. And then this raises more than just ethical questions, although for sure that, but what this raises is, and it should be a natural response. Of course, the media will tell you, and the fact checkers, that people like me aren't right, sure. And the fact checkers are paid, so is the media, by BlackRock, by the same global bankers. So the reason they brought fact checkers on the scene is because people like me and others started making videos speaking up about this. We were getting silenced on every social media, having accounts removed, deleted, all that. Yeah, because they didn't want you to step outside the box and realize the truth. But what this raises questions for me with is, did it even happen? I mean, think about it. You can go to any action-packed movie and see a total war scene take place. So if they want to control the people, well, the best way they've always controlled the people is through crisis. And if you have any doubt of that, whether you're on the left or the right, if you have any doubt of that, then look at how everyone complied with tyranny in 2020. And they used healthcare to tell you this is what we need to do. So this begs the question that either there's horrible people in the media, which there is, of course, but that would actually go undercover with Hamas as they kill people, or else they were there to give the illusion, just like they've given you the illusion that you have freedom. They were there to give you the illusion of this horrible war that's taking place. Is it? I don't know. I don't know. I think that articles like this, and this isn't the only one. The other one was Western Journal. This is Newsweek, but there's others too. Photos of reporters with Hamas spark new theory about attacks. Well, I don't. Of course it would. Of course it would. It's very unethical. Now, they'll spin it any way they can, but the fact is, it makes you wonder, do we even know if it took place? Now, you'll hear Ben Shapiro and many others say, no, I was there, or I know it did. And I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying that there's some serious questions that should be asked here. But they don't want you to ask those questions. Why don't they? Because they just want you to stay the servitude that you are. Stay in servitude. Just believe what your media tells you. Don't do any thinking for yourself. We will tell you the theory to believe about this. What a disgraceful report. However, the claim that news outlets had prior knowledge of the attack have not been backed up by evidence and remain unverified. Really, and who would be verifying any of that? You can't believe any of these news outlets anymore. You can't believe any of the government anymore. They've lost, and the court system, they've all lost credibility because of their own behavior, their own godlike syndrome that they're on. Several news outlets have cut ties with Eliza, that was one of the reporters, following the report, and say that they did not know of the attacks before they occurred. Okay. But they just took pictures of everything? Yeah. So it makes you wonder how much psychological abuse is continuing by our politicians on the left and the right to be put on the American people. It's horrible what these people have done. And they now no longer hold any credibility.